Witness a world of gods and their divine unions, where the sun rises amidst the seductive dance of a Japanese deity. Observe love priestesses in their dedicated district and discover how geishas' purity is bought and sold. Mystics use human skulls for their sexual rituals, and an octopus makes love to a woman. Explore a fascinating realm in our latest video on the sexual customs of medieval Japan and delve into a world of love, lust, and carnal pleasures where all this and much more await you. Shintoism, the traditional religion of Japan, sees sex as a normal part of human relationships. This idea appears in Shinto myths where gods have sex to form the world. When the divine siblings Izanagi and Izanami emerged, the supreme gods instructed them to build the earth. They used a spear to stir the waters of the world's oceans, and the Japanese islands formed from the salty droplets that trickled from the spear. After arriving on the island, the gods inserted a spear into the ground and engaged in sexual intercourse next to it. In his article, The History of Sex Education in Japan, writer Cesare Jan Strusevich references a message from a divine brother to his sister. The message was documented in Kojiki, a compilation of myths and legends from 712 AD. Izanagi states, "There is a part of my body that is protruding. I desire to enter the part of your body that is hollow and make it full." Sex is a prominent theme among Japanese gods. According to Professor Ian Baruma's article, The Joy of Art, Why Japan Embraced Sex with a Passion, there is a legend where Amaterasu, the goddess of sunlight, retreated into a cave and caused the sun to disappear because she was angry with humans. The deities failed to persuade Amaterasu to exit her cave in the heavens. Therefore, the celestials arranged a wild party at the cave's entrance, and one of them commenced a comical strip dance, causing everyone around to burst into laughter. Amaterasu's interest was aroused by the merrymaking, and she peeped out, laughing with delight, thus releasing her anger and allowing the sun to shine on the world again. Until now, the Japanese continue to commemorate some festivals using symbols of the male anatomy. One instance is the Rich Year Day in Kamaka Town, when a wooden male organ is pulled along the street. In addition, there is a celebration that worships the feminine aspect in its most physiological form. The people of Inuyama organize an annual procession in which they carry a giant shell as a symbol of the feminine. During the celebration, the shell is opened and a girl sitting inside starts throwing rice cakes to the crowd. They certainly have a lot of amusement there. After the Heian period, 794-1185, when more women became available, men became less interested in selling love. There was a period of fragmentation, followed by the Tokugawa shogunate, and from 1603, centralization developed in Japan. During this time, attitudes towards female adultery became rigid, with no Shanagan-inspired frivolities. However, many men did not mind having fun, and numerous love priestesses and courtesans worked for them. Frequent fights in brothels, leading to unfortunate consequences, led to the creation of a walled brothel, Yanagi-machi, or Willow City, during the reign of Shogun Toyotomi Hideyoshi in 1589. The name comes from the willow tree, which was associated with venal love. In 1602, it was moved away from the palace and renamed Shimabara in 1635. After Kyoto was moved to Edo, present-day Tokyo, a district for brothels was established there. In 1626, the Yoshiwara district was built with a fence, trench, and one entrance. The love priestesses, called yujo, lived only within it and could leave under 3 circumstances: to see a doctor, attend court, or go with a client to view the cherry blossoms. Additionally, they had to be barefoot. In addition to the regular love priestesses, there was a counterpart to the Greek heteras. It was called the geisha, a term familiar to many. These females had diverse abilities such as playing instruments, dancing, holding stimulating conversations, and were allowed to choose their paying customers voluntarily. Nevertheless, the first man to have a relationship with them had to be picked using a ceremonial auction called mazuage. Typically, the most esteemed customer who offered a substantial sum would then become the geisha's patron. The birth of Kabuki theater can be traced back to the Japanese love for art and selling love. In 1603, a dancer named Okuni performed in Kyoto's riverside area, depicting both genders engaging in sensual and comical acts with her assistants. This led to the creation of a highly successful theater that was named Kabuki, meaning fun and zany. After Okuni was invited to Edo, many imitators emerged. During their performances, the maidens did not shy about selling their entertainment services, which added to their popularity. The fascination with female actresses grew widespread to the extent that authorities prohibited women from appearing in theater performances in 1647. The women were replaced by young male actors, leading to a repeat of events, only now their clients were numerous homosexuals, which were many in the samurai and official environment. The young male actors were banned from theaters in 1652. Subsequently, Kabuki performances are now exclusively restricted to adult men. The Japanese had their own type of Tantric Buddhism called Tachikawa-ryu of the Shingon school. It was established by Ninken, who died in 1113, and had a senior position in the Buddhist hierarchy in the capital. However, he was expelled to the provinces for attempting to conspire against Emperor Toba. Whilst in exile, he taught his ideas to a Tachikawa Taoist named Kenren before jumping off a cliff and passing away. The core message was that individuals can attain enlightenment through specific sexual practices. This teaching builds upon the standard Tantra practices that have existed in ancient India. Nonetheless, the Tachikawa-ryu masters devised rituals so extravagant that they would make even the most talented Indian hermit Agori blush. In his work, Japanese Buddhism, Andrei Nikorchevsky, Ph.D. in philosophy, delves into these detailed rituals. This ceremony requires a skull, preferably from a prominent person, but a parent's skull can also be used. If adequate skulls are not available, they gather skull caps from regular folks, pulverize them into powder, and form the material into a skull shape. Then, teeth, lips and eyes are added to the skull, coated in varnish, and the ceremony commences. A man and a woman engage in sexual intercourse, and then they cover the skull with their bodily fluids. The process was performed 120 times with some chanting over skull. Over the next 8 years, ceremonies were performed and incense was used to anoint the skull regularly. The aim was to bring the skull to life and grant wishes, enlightenment, knowledge of the past and future. Nonetheless, no one has succeeded in completing the full ritual, and there is no record of anyone doing so. During the 18th century, Japanese art displayed the ukiyo-e trend, which presented illustrations of the floating world. These drawings and prints depicted the lifestyle of courtesans, geishas and kabuki theater performers who enjoyed nature, fireworks and other forms of sensual entertainment. There were even pictures of sensual content that would now be assumed indecent, such as spring pictures or shunga. These illustrations were used as fortunate emblems to safeguard against fires. Friends and relatives shared them, and samurai would occasionally adorn their armor with them. They were also used for arousal. The first shunga instance, according to Timon Screech's Sex in the Floating World, Erotic Images in Japan, was a guidebook to the Yoshiwara brothel quarter in approximately 1660. This manual included images of famous courtesans and their symbols. Spring paintings often depicted sexual scenes, but there were also more unusual ones, about which Frankie Knapp writes in the article. Japan's ancient attitude to sex was way freakier than you'd imagine. In 1814, Katsushika Hokusai, a famous artist, published Young Pines, which had 3 shunga collections. It featured an artwork that was later called The Dream of a Fisherman's Wife. This plot was repeated in multiple shunga works and supposedly led to the creation of the well-known tentacles as a subgenre of hentai. Japanese culture is fascinating and has many aspects that might seem unusual to an outsider. It's a performance with a deity doing a strip dance, parades praising the separate parts of men and women, kabuki theater, and an octopus making love to a woman.